Hey guys, it's Julia from Trove, and today I'm going to be showing you how we make our best caramel sauce ever. So we've broken this down step by step so that it's super easy for you to follow. As you may know, we definitely know that caramel can sometimes be very daunting and it can be a little bit tricky and finicky. We're gonna break it down and make it as easy as possible. So I've laid out our ingredients here, and you're gonna wanna make sure you have everything ready just like I have before you start making your caramel. It's very important because you don't wanna be running to the fridge or chopping up your butter while your sugar is cooking, otherwise you might end up with burnt sugar. So we wanna start with all room temperature ingredients. This is really important when we're working with caramel, and when we're cooking it, the temperature gets very, very hot. So you wanna make sure that you're not working with anything that's cold. First ingredient is sugar. Then we have our butter. We're gonna wanna make sure that this is chopped up into kind of smaller cubes. This is so that it melts evenly into the sugar. Then we have our heavy cream, so we have about a half a cup here. And again, we want this to be room temperature. And a little bit of salt to make it a little bit salty, but not overly salty. And as for equipment that you're gonna need, you're gonna want a pot. So this pot we've chosen has relatively tall edges, and that's important because caramel will rise when you add certain ingredients. So you wanna make sure there's enough room so that it doesn't bubble and boil over, because you'll be dealing with a big mess. We've chosen a fairly large bottom pot, and this also makes it easier to melt your sugar and melt it evenly. If you choose a really small pot, it's gonna take a long time for the sugar to melt, and you're gonna be doing a lot of stirring, and it's gonna be a bit of a pain. So this is a great size that I would recommend. In terms of what we're gonna use to actually mix and stir our caramel, we're gonna wanna make sure we have a whisk, and it's gonna be a metal wire whisk. Do not use a silicone whisk as it will melt. I've done it before. For a spatula, you can use a heatproof spatula, which is what we have here, but if you don't have one of those, you can just use a wooden spoon or something similar to this, because this will not melt your caramel. All right, so let's jump into the recipe. I am gonna give you guys a bird's eye view of how we do this in the pot so that you don't miss anything. To start, we're gonna add our sugar to the pot over medium-high heat. And we're basically gonna stir this until the sugar completely melts and turns into an amber color. This can take a while, so be patient. At this point here, we can see that it's starting to stick to the bottom of the pan. This is exactly what we're looking for. Keep stirring. Your sugar will start to look a little bit clumpy at this point. Sometimes I do a bit of a chopping motion to break up any big clumps. You'll notice your sugar is starting to turn into an amber color. It happens really quickly, so make sure you're keeping a close eye on it. As soon as the sugar is completely melted, we're gonna add in the butter. If your butter isn't fully incorporating into the sugar and you notice some separation, keep whisking. You might have to actually pull this off the heat and continue to whisk off the heat until it's combined. You'll notice here that the color is changing and it's turning into a smoother caramel consistency. As soon as the caramel is combined, pop it right back on the heat and slowly drizzle in your heavy cream. Once the caramel is fully combined, we're going to set a 1-minute timer and let the caramel boil. This is the only time we're not going to stir it. After our timer is up, we're going to remove the caramel off the heat and sprinkle in our salt and just gently whisk until that's combined. Now our caramel is officially complete. We just have to let it cool on the counter. So now that our caramel has cooled a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and pour it into a jar. So good. Okay, and I spilled a little bit on the edge, so just take a damp cloth and just wipe the edges. There we go. perfect caramel every time. Okay, so now we have our final product. As this cools, it will set and it will be a little bit more firm. The nice thing about putting it in a glass jar is that you can just take the lid off and pop it in the microwave for a couple seconds, and then it will be more of a pourable consistency. So our caramel can be stored in the fridge for up to 1 month, or it can also be put in the freezer where it should be good for about 3 months. It's really handy to have this on hand. We always love to have some in our freezer so we don't have to make it every time, but this is a very delicious, awesome caramel. It's so good. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to our channel for more videos just like this. We'll see you in the next one. If you tried this, okay, I have a hard time enunciating my words. And thank you so much for watching. Anyways, that's it. That's all I'm gonna say.